everybody, happy Wednesday. We are back live on the Beading Dreams stream with a wire necklace tutorial for you this Wednesday evening. Hope everyone is having a solidly good, if not fantastic, Wednesday wherever you are. And hi, Azo. And there's an in-person Amy. She has to go do a thing for work and making money though, so she's not going to be on the stream tonight. You listening? Okay, awesome. So we have this tutorial for you this evening. This is I was having actually a lot of trouble coming up with the name for this, so I went with Wandering Necklace because it seemed appropriate for the style.
Wandering.
My brain was definitely wandering for sure. That's not even why I called it the Wandering Necklace, but that's also appropriate. So what do we need to make this necklace this evening? All right, you're gonna need some. Apparently gonna need to throw some beads. All right, you're gonna need wire, and we are. Uh-oh, Aso's relying on you to keep me in line.
Uh-oh.
We're in trouble.
Unless he meant for me or Amy.
I don't know. Aso, who's the whip for? Who's the whip for? Share.
I also want to know.
All right, so you're going to need wire. So for the base of your necklace, you're going to need 14 or 16 gauge wire. This is 14, which I'm pretty sure is what I used on my sample, but you could also do this with 16 gauge. And then you're going to need some 26 gauge. Oh, hey, I never turned on, not that it seems like I need it, but I never did turn on my light. Let's see if this is a bad choice. It might be a bad choice. It's a shiny choice for sure. So 26 gauge wire, that's going to be for putting on your beads. Wow, that's a really shiny choice that I made there. Hold on, let's fix that. Okay, you're also going to need beads, and I am doing kind of a mermaid color theme this evening because, I don't know, just apparently because that's what I was feeling when I was picking out beads. I see. All right. Yes. So I'm apparently the one who's cracking the whip.
Oh.
On Amy.
Yeah.
But apparently the whip can be used for multiple purposes if needed. So it can be multi-purpose whip cracking. Okay, so beads, and I have them kind of scattered haphazardly on my work surface. So I'm actually going to show you I'm going to show you my prototype. So what I kind of had going on here is a combination of progressively different colors and progressively smaller sizes as I go down to the end of this. Now you don't necessarily have to stick with that particular pattern, but I am going to stick with it for my Raiders? Woo! Who's Raidersing us?
Positively Crafty.
Yay! Hi, Positively Crafty. I got on really late, so you have missed exactly pretty much nothing except for me saying hi. So hi to you guys. All right, what were y'all doing tonight? Tonight, are you in, I should know this. What time zone are you in, Positively Crafty? But whatever time of day it is, wherever you are, what were you guys doing on stream? Super exciting. Always want to know what other people are doing. We are doing this one, and I'm just in the middle of. Yay! Hi, Melissa. There's a Melissa on Facebook. That's exciting. So this is our project for today, and I'm just in the middle of supplies. So we've pretty much just gone through. Also there were whip cracking jokes. That's the other thing you all Raiders missed, and that's about it that you've missed from this evening's stream so far.
And depending on your personality, you may have missed that or not missed that.
I don't think anyone on our Twitch stream is gonna miss the implication of the whip cracking jokes. Just saying.
Oh, I didn't accuse them of that.
All right, so wire. So I'm using bronze. I did not actually say this. I'm using bronze for my project this evening, but you don't have to. 8-week-old puppy. Oh my gosh. If you're in the has positively posted puppy pictures, because I feel like if you're in the Discord, we demand puppy pictures as tax. I'm just saying that you can't say you have an 8-week-old puppy and then deny us photos. Get angry.
Yes.
Just saying.
And we were angry earlier. You don't want to mess with us today.
Yeah, I think angry was my word of the day. I don't know. I had a rough Monday and Tuesday this week for various reasons, and so today it's like my physical body was just like done. Like my stomach was like, no, you shall not eat that. Yes, I am going to tell you all about it. And yeah, absolutely not a fun day. And my brain was also just like too overwhelmed to speak at anything apparently but LOL cats. So yeah, Angie was my word of the day today. Yay, 4-wrap amethyst bracelet. God, it's been so long since I made like an actual like long multi-wrap bracelet.
And they're so fun.
They are so fun. I'm still carrying around my poor little black coral wire wrap necklace that I keep thinking I'm not time to sit down and make, and I keep not. It just keeps, it just keeps moving around with me. Thankfully, it's not very heavy. But anyway, so, puppy blips. I am definitely down for puppy blips because, yes, maybe that will make me less angry. Maybe I'll find a different word for the evening. Okay, so bronze wire, 14 or 16 gauge. I'm using 14 tonight, and 26 gauge. You could also use 24 gauge depending on the beads that you're using. You're going to need beads, and mine just kind of, when I was picking them off the strands, they kind of scattered all over, so I'm showing you the prototype instead of the beads I'm actually using tonight. So what I got here is I've got kind of a progression of large to medium to small to smaller, and then I am doing kind of a color progression as well, but you don't have to stick with that. You could do them all the same size. Also, this is about a 6-inch long piece of wire. You could make this shorter. Okay, you could totally make this a 3 or 4-inch piece of wire and still have a great necklace. And I need something for the focal point, the drop. So I have this cool crystal top drill, sort of marquee shaped large crystal, so that's going to be my drop. I didn't get chain. I walked over there like 3 times, did not get chain and a clasp, so at some point I will acquire that for obviously the making of the centerpiece into a necklace. Now, you don't need to use chain. You could make a wire wrap chain, like these 2 wire wrap links that I've attached my chain with. You could just continue that. Make a whole wire wrap chain for your necklace. You could use leather, you could use beads. And when I have a project like this and I'm trying to fit it into the space of a 30 to 45 minute tutorial, the chain generally gets tacked onto the end of it because that's I'm focusing on this and that's how I make it wearable without adding a whole lot of extra time. But you could totally do this. You could crimp a bead strand on there. That would be absolutely gorgeous. Wire wraps, leather, all of the things that I just said and then said again. Any of those would be really, really fun. Tools. You are going to need your pliers, your basic pliers. That's going to be your chain nose pliers. Those are the flat ones. Round nose pliers, which are the round ones, and wire cutters. And you are going to be using 14 gauge wire, so make sure you use something that's a little bit these are my fine wire cutters, but these are an old pair of them, so I'm not too worried about using these on the 14 gauge bronze wire. The other thing you do need to remember though, if you're using a fine gauge wire cutter on a heavy gauge wire, don't use the end of it, okay, because it will literally snap the end off of your wire. I have a couple of wire cutters that I can prove that with because I've done it. So you're usually pretty safe as long as you go not all the way down here because you can see there's not actually a blade there, but right down close to the end of the cutters, you're usually going to be fine. But once again, you don't want to do this with a brand new expensive cutter because you are going to dull it out. By doing that, you're going to need a hole punch, and you're going to need a hole punch with like a 1.5, 1.6 millimeter punch. You could also drill. If you don't have a hole punch and you do have a drill, hey, drills are actually more versatile than hole punches, so I'm all for drills. You're going to need your chasing hammer or household hammer, whichever one you happen to have handy, and then your bench block or bench block equivalent. So I'm going to start by taking my 14 gauge or 16 gauge, in my case it's 14 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut myself a 6-inch piece of it. How can your phone not be familiar with bleps, Heather? Who in this day and age doesn't know what a blep is?
I don't know.
And if so, what's wrong with them?
Maybe my old phone that didn't recognize brownies has corrupted every phone for the future.
Fair. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and just, while I'm cutting wire, I'm going to cut my 26. Wow,
26 gauge?
That was a whole lot of words that just had a pile up in my head. Like, I mean, it was just like an NFL tackle in my head just then. My 26 gauge wire, I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'm cutting a 2-foot piece. That should be more than enough to do everything I have to do. But if I don't have enough, I do have my spool of 26 gauge wire, handy. Blep on Discord. Okay, sorry y'all, but there's a blep on Discord, so
Yeah, you gotta look.
I gotta. I need this. I need bleps today. Okay,
And you should really show it on stream.
I will.
Face.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You have got to be kidding me!
So perfect.
That's adorbs. That's positively Crafty's new puppy. Look at that blep. Thank you, Crafty. You made my life this evening
So much more positive.
so much more positive. Much appreciated. Okay, so, and now I get to bang on things, which is also helpful when you're having a rough day. So I'm going to take my 14 gauge wire and I'm going to kind of try and corral all my beads so that they don't fall off of my workbench while I'm hammering. Heather, you don't have anything that's precariously close to the edge, do you?
I don't think so.
All right. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Sophia. Sophia, there's Puppy Blep on the Discord that just got loaded up. It's adorable, just saying. Also has the new digs and the new job and everything. Oh, so cute. Do you have any names in the running for the new puppy? Or are you just waiting for new puppy to tell you what their name should be? Yes, it's true. Liam is adorable. Okay, so sorry. This is one of those nights where I'm going to be a little distractible, y'all, which means please, by all means, continue to chit-chat because it's making me happier. But anybody who likes those nights where I am super laser focused, maybe you should come back tomorrow.
I don't know if we're gonna have any more of those.
We are. I swear to God, we are. Just probably not this week. Though I feel like the worst part of my week, knock on wood, is behind me. Of course, that's the your best way to jinx yourself. Okay, so I've got this. Oh, Smee. Heather, I'm sure is gonna jump on that. I'm gonna pass because of the gluten issue. If they have gluten-free kolaches, though, I am all for it. I don't even care what flavor they are. Okay, so I'm going to take the end of my wire, and I'm going to paddle it out, like so. And I just need to make sure I paddle it out. Oh my gosh, 11 weeks. I know, puppies. I think that, those of us, you have animals, and then they get older, and then, they pass on and whatnot, and so then you get new young animals and you're like, oh my god, I'm so much older now than the last time I did this with the puppies and the kittens. I think one of my clients who I love is experiencing that right now. She just got 2 litter mates, little kittens, a boy and a girl, and she's like not necessarily dealing as well with the kittendom. I think she remembered kittenhood as being a little bit less destructive than it is. Okay, so paddle this out. You only need to paddle it out far enough that you can actually punch that hole in it. But if you're using a 1.5 millimeter punch, that means you need to be about 3 millimeters with your paddle. So you can either eyeball it, or you can, of course, utilize your handy dandy millimeter gauge. So it's going to get loud on the stream for just a minute. So if you want to mute
walk
me,
away for a minute.
good plan. If you want to mute me, now's the time. So I do want to talk for 1 second before it gets loud about how you make that paddle. So when you're making that paddle, you want to make sure you hit with the center of your chasing hammer. Okay, don't hit with the edges. You're not trying to chop up your wire. Hit with the center. And what you want to do is the motion is kind of hit and pull to the side, and that's how you help your wire to widen out. Now, here is a tip. If you're doing your paddle and you start noticing it like curving to one side or the other, just flip your wire over and continue hammering exactly the same. Your motion will self-correct if you start doing it on the other side of the wire. Okay, so here we go with the hammering, which you'll be able to see partly. It's a little out of focus down there, I know, but of course the other secret is whack the bejesus out of it. Okay, so there is my paddle, and my paddle is 3.2 millimeters. 3.1, 3.2, it's kind of twisting in there. 3.3, it grew. But anyway, 3.2. So I'm good. So now I'm going to do the same on my other side. Now when I do my other paddle, I want to keep it flat in the same plane as the paddle I just made. Okay, and that one I can just tell by looking at it is sufficiently wide. All right, I'm done being noisy, Heather. Okay, so here's the thing. This happens a lot of times with the wire. So this one is rounded and this one is flat, okay? And ideally we want them to look sort of similar. So this is where a file or an emery board is going to be a helpful tool to have someplace where you can just grab it. And I like the rounded better than the flat edge of that one. So I'm just going to take my emery and I'm just going to round out my edges. You can do this with a file, you can do this with a piece of 320 grit sandpaper. They just whatever you happen to have handy. Literally when I opened my drawer, the emery board was right there, so that's what I used. So there we go. That is, all right, so now they look pretty similar. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, ooh, hi Robin! A 6-series documentary on Netflix called Cat People. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't in a 6-series documentary on Netflix about cat people. Though, considering some of the weird and wacky programming these days, is it a documentary about people who have cats, or is it about people who think they're cats? Just wondering. Because these days you can never tell. There is also a great, and I think it's still on Netflix, a great and somewhat silly, what up?
Are you done, Henry?
I'm done. I yelled at you. I said I was done being loud.
Sorry,
I apparently just deafened you with the hammering.
Yeah, I was thinking about kolaches.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, not ever a bad thing to be thinking about, for sure. But yeah, there's also a great cat documentary on Netflix called The Lion in Your Living Room, which is pretty awesome. And if you like cats and you just need a pick-me-up, The Lion in Your Living Room is actually a pretty good one. Okay, so now I'm going to punch my holes in the ends of my paddles, and if you want to stupid proof it a little bit, which we all know that I like stupid proofing things, because I definitely have a tendency to the stupid. Your lion in the living room is pretty lazy. That's fair. My living room / outside lion, I'm just putting in a little paver patio on the outside of my house, and so he was doing his patio inspector duties the other day of making sure that my work was up to snuff, and also being upset at me for covering up his dirt. How dare I cover his dirt? He liked to lay in that dirt, mother, and now you have covered it all with nasty stones that are not nearly so dirty. Yay! Happy puppy playing positively. Thank you so much for the raid, and have a great night. Thanks, Lori. Once Ziggy got over the fact that I covered up all of his dirt, he was also approving. Okay, so this is a screw down metal punch. So literally that's how it works. So I'm going to put my metal in there and I'm going to screw it clockwise until my punch is resting on my dot, which it so is not right now. I like cat schedules. Definitely keep a cat schedule or a dog schedule. Kitten schedules and puppy schedules are way too like 0 to 60, 60 to 0 for me. Like, I'm too old for that crap now. All right, so once I've got it on the dot, I'm just gonna continue twisting it clockwise. It's gonna get harder because at this point it's actually punching through the metal, and then it's gonna get easier. That's when it's gone through the metal. You want to make sure you stop before this punch, kind of scrapes your metal, and then you're just gonna twist it counterclockwise until your metal comes off of your punch on its own. Like so. Alright, and I'm going to do the same for the other side. I mean, I will say I had kolache dreams back when I could eat them. There's a kolache factory downstairs from where the dance company I danced with right after I graduated from college, where they rehearsed, and definitely had my share of kolaches for lunch. The ham and cheese ones were my favorite. Oh my gosh! Isosceles snugged Dolly out the door for the whole day. Yes, Isosceles is a terror. Oh my gosh. He is an instigator and obviously too smart for everybody's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have my
You
two
definitely
poles.
should not meet Ziggy then.
No, they left the front door open. Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, no, Isosceles and Ziggy definitely. It's a good thing they don't live near each other because they would be like gangs of New York, I think, in the neighborhood.
Yep.
Okay. And then the last kind of preparatory thing I'm going to do before I start putting this whole thing together is I'm going to make my little drop. And so this one here is a quartz, and it's actually center drilled, so I've got it on a head pin. Also, it's a really pretty quartz. Look how cool that is. Love. So I'm going to use this one tonight. This one's top drilled, so the wire wrap on this is going to be a little bit different. So I have my whole 2 feet of 26 gauge wire. I'm just going to cut myself off about 3-4 inches of it because I don't want to whack myself in the face. Thanks, Sophia. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my wire and I'm going to go through the top of my crystal, and I'm going to bend my wires up against the hole of the crystal to make a triangle. And I want the point of my triangle to be directly above the point of my crystal. Okay, if it's not directly above the point of your crystal, and by directly above, I'm talking about alignment. It doesn't have to be super close to your point necessarily, but it needs to be lined up over the center of your bead. Otherwise, it's not going to hang right. Then I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to use my chain nose pliers. And notice this is a little bit springy. So if I want to keep it a little bit down closer to my crystal, I can just pinch the sides of it like so. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers. I want to grab the longer of those 2 wires directly above the point where those 2 wires cross and bend it straight up to center it. And then I'm going to continue to pinch this, and I'm going to wrap the short wire around the long wire at that bend, except I have to do it with my dominant hand because my left hand is apparently not strong enough. All right, so short wire wraps around the long wire at the bend 1.5 times. And if you can't manage this with just your hands, which apparently I can't tonight, this is where your pliers are helpful.
Oh, I meant to tell you I like your nails.
Oh, thank you. I realized when I was putting them on that they're pretty much exactly the same like pattern as my last set of nails, just a different color.
So?
There.
Most of us don't look at your nails as much as you do.
Well, that's fair. But I don't know. A lot of you look at my nails quite a lot because, you know, stream and everything.
It's true, but
All
you
right.
may not memorize the patterns.
What? You're telling me that people are not out there on the internet, like, doing blogs and, like, keeping notebooks about my nails? I'm just offended by the fact that you think that this is how things are. You should know that I'm more important than that.
It's true. I mean, that's why I need so many notebooks, but...
Oh my gosh. So yes, there were school supplies at Target, so Schmether got new notebooks.
did.
A whole stack of them. So we are set for at least another probably 6 months notebook.
Yeah, probably by the end of the year.
Because I got to a lot of notebooks.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not the right frame. Okay, so now that I've done this wrap, I'm going to go ahead and trim off my extra. Just as close to that coil as I can possibly get it. And then if you have a little pointy stabby end there, you're just going to press that down. Ta-da. I actually think this is my last set of nails from my giant nail buying binge of a couple of months ago. So I have to actually, because in theory, the Kiss nails, which do hold up spectacularly well, but in theory they're reusable. If you have a job like mine, they're really not. Like, by the time I take them off after 2 weeks, they are just beat to heck. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool.
We've all this language before now.
I know, right? So yeah, they're absolutely beat to heck and definitely not reusable. I'll save all the ones that like don't fit on my fingers and like cobble together Franken sets of nails from them. But this is my last. I think this is my last like new set of nails. So I'm gonna have to give some money to Kiss.com or Kiss Incorporated. Though, have I told the stream about the free gift story?
I don't think so, actually.
Well, I should probably just save that for the sales stream.
For the sale? Okay.
Yes, because it's 6:47, so I should actually, like,
Oh, yeah.
continue teaching this project, or we're never going to get to the sale. Okay, so now that I have this bead on here, what this does is it does a couple of things. Number one, it just looks pretty. And number two, it makes it a little easier for me to do that second leg of my wire wrap. Wow, I did a terrible job of pressing that in. Thanks, camera, for showing me that. I don't have to meet my ends if I put a bead in between. So now I'm going to do a basic wire wrap loop, which goes like this. I'm going to start with my round nose pliers, and I'm going to start by placing them so that they are touching the top of that bead. I'm going to go away from me, rotate my pliers up 1/8 of a turn, come back up over the top of my pliers towards me and down, rotate again, go underneath my pliers, and that makes a complete loop, which we call here on the Beading Dream stream Our Lady with a Scarf, because it's like a lady if she were in a convertible with a long scarf dramatically trailing out behind her as she motors down the boulevard.
It's definitely a boulevard.
It must be a boulevard, of course. So then I'm going to take my chain nose, I'm going to hold across that loop, parallel to my scarf wire, and then I'm going to wrap, starting at the base of the loop all the way down until I reach my bead. Trim your end off. Wow, really? Focusing is sometimes hard. All right, trim your end off. And then press down. And of course, for those of you who are like, okay, I'm done with this stream, this is a great way to make a pendant. This is a great way to make an earring all by itself. So this little tidbit of knowledge right here is actually incredibly useful. You can make a whole lot of things using just this technique. This is, of course, top drilled wire wrapping. This one on top is basic wire wrapping. We do have a number of tutorials on Facebook and Twitch addressing both of those techniques. Really, really useful. Both of those are. Okay.
Some on YouTube.
And some on YouTube now. It's true. We started finally archiving things to YouTube. We don't have a whole lot of history there yet, as we've only been doing it for about 2 weeks. So that history will, of course, grow with time. The great thing about YouTube, of course, is the tutorials don't ever drop, or the videos don't ever drop off like they do on the social media platforms, which is nice. Okay, so now let's try and let's go ahead and put this all together. So I've got my remaining 26 gauge wire, and I'm going to string onto my 26 gauge wire 3 of the biggest beads I have, and then my little drop I just made, and then 3 more of the biggest beads I have. So that's going to be these kind of sea foamy green crystals. So 1, 2. Okay, so I may regret this, but is the peg leg cat pirate in your dream, or is there actually a peg leg cat pirate in West?
I'm assuming that Isosceles is a peg leg cat pirate, because
I see. Okay.
He has only the 3.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
And Dolly is the furry pirate.
I see.
Or furry parrot. Yeah. Furry pirate parrot.
There we go. All right, so there's 3, and then my drop, and then 3 more. And then we're going to take this whole construction that we just put on there, and we're going to drop it down to the middle of our wire. And if you just basically let it go, of course, gravity will do that for you. I'm going to find approximately the middle of my 14 gauge wire, and I'm going to put one of these wires behind and one of these wires in front of my 14 gauge. Doesn't really matter which one, just you want one to go behind and one to go in front. And this part is a little awkward, so I'm just going to hold everything, and I'm going to wrap that wire around my 14 gauge, and I'm going to do it about 4 or 5 times. 3, 4. I want these to be nice and tight together, so that's why I'm kind of shoving them together with my nail. And what's most important is I want them to be tight to my wire. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm just going to kind of snug all 6 of those beads up, and then I'm going to wrap this one around obviously I'm going to be rotating the opposite direction the same number of times. So 3, 4, and 5. Like so. And I want to finish with both of my wires kind of going up to what I consider the top or the inside curve of my wire. Now I'm going to do, the only reason that this one has 6 is because I need a place for that drop. For my next couple, I'm going to do 5 because it looks nicer if we have that center bead. So I'm going to do 5 beads on this wire and wrap it around, 5 beads on this wire, wrap it around. And what is my next? It's this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Okay. Oh, stop. Need those. Okay, so I've got 5, and then I want to keep kind of my opposition going with this. So if it's coming from the back here, I want to do my next set of wraps, you know, coming over the front, and that just kind of keeps everything sort of with a harmonious flow. So 5, and then I want to end this wire now going towards the bottom or the outside curve of my wire, and then same with the other side. So I'm going to find hopefully the remaining 5 of my crystals, which I have whacked with my wire and scattered all around my work surface in even more of a haphazard fashion than they already were scattered, if such a thing is even possible. And then I'm going to repeat this. So again, in this instance, I'm coming from the back, so then I'm going to come on the front and wrap. And that's what I should have so far. So I'm going to go to my next bead, and I'm going to do 5 beads underneath on both sides. So it is, of course, Wednesday night on the Beading Dream Stream. That does mean that it is a live sale evening. We have lots of fun things for you tonight. We have a crap ton of new merchandise. So we're going to start getting into some fun African vinyl. I've got some brass beads and gold-plated spacers for you tonight. And then we have some awesome agate beads. If anybody saw the promo post on social media, those insanely neon day glow beads are actually just as insanely neon and day glow as they look in the post, and so we'll have those for you, plus some other cool yeah, like they really are, like seriously, these are they're
amazing.
They're real bright. This is better because they're like that day glow greenish yellow.
There's ectoplasm.
Yes, so we're gonna have those for you tonight, plus some other cool agates and whatever else I happen to grab out from the new merchandise. We got enough new merchandise that we're going to be doing new stuff on sales for a while, which is nice because I know that everyone was getting probably a little bit bored with seeing the same stuff over and over. 1, 2,
I don't know who she thinks she's calling boring, internet.
3, that's not 5, that's only 3, 4, 5. I found them all. Yay!
Yay!
So I'm repeating that on the other side. But yeah, so that's going to kick off about 30 minutes after this tutorial, so probably a little after 7:30 is when we're going to be on this evening with a live merchandise sale. We're going to go for 90 minutes or so with selling cool stuff, and it's always loads of fun. There are definitely always shenanigans. Not as many shenanigans as the Saturday night sales, but still a respectable amount of shenanigans on the Wednesday night sales. I would say my instigators are not slacking on Wednesday night. There are just fewer of them usually. Okay, so now that I have I've got my center, and then I've got my 2 5s. So now I am going to switch to 4 just for the sake of length. So I'm going to do 4 on this side, 4 on this side of my next smallest bead. Alright, so I've got my 4 on there, and again, like so. Wrap. And I'm already seeing a problem here, which is I'm going to need more of these beads and more of my tiny beads to finish this out at the length that I have chosen. So it's going to take me a minute to pull those out of my... Of course, I decided to use my little mixed cup of crystals, which is all fine and dandy, except for the fact that you have to fish through to find the colors that you need. Alright, so for those. And again, I'm just going to bring it over and wrap it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you need to scooch them after you've wrapped, you can definitely do that. Alright, bear with me while I pull out some more of these little teal guys, which there are thankfully a bunch of. I'm going to get a different color. I'm going to go with probably shouldn't get too complicated since I have a sale to run soon. Wait, what's this whole like being intelligent and things? I'm not familiar with this.
No, you're definitely familiar with it.
Managing expectations and all of that, really not my jam.
Don't manage expectations, just dial it back at least 2 levels of complication.
Okay, fair.
Just for the stream.
Alright.
For the sake of the stream.
Okay, and then I have managed to fling all of my tiny ones to the various corners of my bead mat, so just give me a second to grab my tiny ones. Okay, hopefully that's enough to get me through the rest of the stream. Oh, and I'm going to need 2 for adding my chain. Could you do me a favor and grab me some bronze chain? And like an easy clasp S-hook or a toggle or some such thing.
Yes. How long a bronze chain or just a thing?
Like 14 inches is good. Okay, so now I'm going to continue with this now that I've pulled more beads. I'm just going to do the same thing. I've got another run of my teal, and then I got some transparent green, and then I'm going to end with some tiny ones in a gray color. So let's see, we've talked about the sale, we've talked about tiny puppies on the stream, which is fantastic. Let's see, this is our Freeform Friday week. So that means that on Friday I will be doing a freeform project. I haven't, of course, decided what it is yet, because why would I decide that before Friday at 5:45? But something fun I will be doing this Friday on stream. So Freeform Fridays, for anybody who's not familiar with the Beading Dream stream, is a day that I just pick a project that is interesting to me and that I think and hope will be interesting to you, and I will do it on stream from start to finish. It's not as much of a tutorial as, thank you so much, you're the bomb. It's not as much of a tutorial as tonight is, where I'm, explaining step by step and giving you supply lists and everything. With the freeform classes, I will narrate as I'm doing it, but it's not quite as detailed. And I use the freeform Fridays a lot to do things that once again, I think will be interesting to you, but that are maybe a little too complicated to put in, a 45-minute to 1-hour tutorial. Because basically, I can wire wrap a lot faster than I can teach wire wrapping, etc., etc. Okay, so this is my last little swaggy swag on this. It's my tiny little, tiny small crystals, and I'm just going to wrap that off 5 times. I'm not going to trim this wire quite yet, just in case I need to make any adjustments. And oh, thanks. And then I'm going to continue with that same thing on the other side. Heather's making me a clasp. She's so sweet. I didn't mean to make it that hard for you.
We only have big clasps in bronze.
I see. Well, I like big clasps, and I cannot lie.
You other brothers can't deny.
But maybe for the really pretty dainty chain she got me, a smaller clasp would be in order. One, 2, 4. Lost some people. Am I being boring? I feel like I'm being boring. I promise, there's a sales stream coming. The sales streams are almost never boring. Have we had a boring sales stream ever? I feel like we have to have had one or two at least in the past 18 months. But...
Well, none of them have been boring to me.
Fair. No, you go there. Okay, and then this is a thing that happens. That's the frame I want. This is the thing that happens when you're doing this is you're going to finish it. It's going to be all kind of whacked out around your wire. So just start with the middle. Start with the curvature of your wire the way you want it to be, and then just rotate everything around until it's facing the directions that you want. And you can do that by adding a twist or subtracting a twist to any of these. And if you move one, make sure you hold its next door neighbor, otherwise you're going to wind up moving both of them. Okay, and you absolutely could do this with all of your swags on the bottom of your wire as well. So you don't have to alternate like this. Okay, so there is one side, and then here is the second side. Fix, fix. Alright, so there is the second side. So I am a little off center. I'm closer to this end than I am to this end. So I'm just going to kind of shift the whole thing over. It should be fairly easy to do. But of course you also want to make sure that you keep your center in your center. So that works. And then if you want, you can change the curvature of this as well. You can make it more or less curved as you like. Okay, so now that I've got everything properly adjusted on there, I can finally trim off my wire ends. So I'm just going to trim those off nice and close and then press down my ends nice and flat. And then I'm going to add my chain on using dun, 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 basic wire wrap loop, which, as most of you know, is one of my favorite techniques. I really do think that the basic wire wrap loop is one of the most useful things you can possibly teach yourself. So,
agreed.
That goes like this. All right, I'm going to grab one of my scraps of 26 gauge wire, and I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. Take my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab them about 1 inch to 1.5 inches from the end of my wire, depending on the overall length of the piece that I'm working with. I don't want to waste too much up here if I've got a piece that's a little bit shorter. I'm going to push that wire away from me over my pliers to make a 90-degree angle. I'm going to loosen my pliers, rotate them up just 1/8 of a turn, and grab again. Okay, so now I've grabbed right on that corner. I'm going to pull that short piece of wire back up over the top of my pliers and down, so now I'm starting to make a loop on my pliers. I'm going to now get this part of my pliers out of the way. So I'm going to loosen, get those out of the way, grab again, and then press my wire underneath, and that makes, of course, my lady with a scarf, to whom you were all introduced just a few moments ago. Now I'm going to take one of my holes in my necklace component. I'm just going to thread the scarf wire into the hole, and I'm just going to feed that piece up the wire and pop that into my loop. Then I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to do, thank you, Heather, She made me the sweetest little wire wrapped hook and eye. It's adorbs and so cute. Love. All right, so hold across that loop and we're gonna wrap. So we're just gonna wrap around, starting at the base of the loop. And you don't need to go too many times. 2 to 3 times is more than sufficient. Like so. Then I'm gonna trim off our end and press down your little stabby bit like so. Now you can add a bead on there, because once again, if you use a bead, you don't have to meet your ends. So drop a bead on there, like so. And then again, round nose pliers. This time touching the top of the bead, away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate underneath. Like so. Grab your chain. Again, throw that into the loop, like so, and then hold across your loop and wrap. So your basic wire wrap loop, one of the reasons it is so incredibly useful is it's one of the most secure ways of putting two things together like this. So hold across your loop, and then this time we're going to just start at the base of our loop, wrap down until you get to your bead. And trim. And press down, like so. Alright, so no pointy stabbies. Now repeat on the second side of your component that you just made, your necklace component. So we go away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate underneath. Also let it be known, I do not advise doing this business to yourself here. This really isn't enough to get a good grip on for wrapping. Since I am trying to kind of make a go of it with my wire scraps that are in front of me, you know, I'm just gonna go with that. But seriously, if you have enough wire, just do yourself a favor, don't do that to yourself. And then just, if you do have a tiny little snippet of wire like this, you can take your round nose pliers or a second pair of chain nose, and you can actually use those to grab that wire and pull it around. Okay, this is a great way if you do have to be conservative with your wire, like if it's the middle of the night and you're doing a project that you need to, you know, give to someone or give to a client the next day or sell to a client the next day, even better. Great way to be conservative with your wire. Use your pliers to help you with that. Trim your end off, and then we're going to press down. I'm going to put our second bead on, and then one more basic wire wrap loop. So we go away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate underneath. Again, that's the lady with the scarf, and I'm going to catch the end link of the chain on that wire, just thread that all the way up and into the loop like so, hold across and wrap. And on this side, we're just going to wrap down until we get to our bead, like so. Trim off your ends. Ta-da! Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and split this chain in half. Could I have done that before I put it on my necklace? Of course I could have. It probably would have actually been easier had I done it then, but hey. Why make things easy, right? So if you're a beginner who's never worked with chain before, let me just confirm for you right now that yes, if you are separating your chain, you are going to destroy a link or two in the process, and no, there really is no way to salvage those links and put them back on the chain. They are just casualties of the process. They're collateral damage. All right, and since Heather made me this adorable little wire wrapped hook and eye, with beautiful closed ends. I'm going to need to find some way to put this onto my chain. If it were an open-ended hook and eye, where the loops weren't closed, I could just open them up and put that onto my chain, but of course I can't because she did such a beautiful job finishing that, which means, guess what? 2 more basic wire wrap loops. Oh noes!
I'm sorry.
How dare you make a quality finding, Heather? What's wrong with you?
I easily could have made it so you could have opened it.
Well, yeah, but that would be less fun because then the stream would have to sit through 2 fewer basic wire wrap loops.
That's true.
So, I mean, I guess that really depends, stream, on whether or not you like hearing me talk about basic wire wrap loops or you don't like hearing me talk about basic wire wrap loops. But I just grabbed two more beads and another piece of 26 gauge wire, and here we go. Away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate, underneath, lady with the scarf, catch the end link of my chain. And when you're cutting chain for this, don't forget that you've got, you know, whatever length you have here, 6 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. So cut your chain with that in mind. So I told Heather, or asked Heather nicely, to cut me 14 inches of chain, so plus 6 inches. So this is going to be more of like a t-shirt length necklace. It's going to be about 20 inches long. All right, hold across your loop, like so, wrap. On the first side, 1.5 to 2.5 wraps is good. Ta-da! I mean, this, to be fair, I don't know that the stream can really tell. I mean, I would imagine there's a volume difference, but you yelling at me from across the store probably sounds fairly similar to you speaking to me from the other side of my computer, I would think. All right, bead is on. And now we're going to do second basic wire wrap loop, away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate. Thanks, ASO. That's awesome. All right, and then we're going to take our end of our wire and we're just going to go into the attachment of our clasp. So seriously, you really can, I'm not going to say you can put anything together with basic wire wrap loops because I know that that's not actually true, but you can put a whole lot of things together with basic wire wrap loops. So, and pressing in the end is one of those things that you just have to get the right angle. And there you go. Pointy stabby gone. Really? Yawns, coughing. Fantastic. Oh, goodness. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with the other side of my clasp, and I am going to have to break down and cut myself just another small piece of my 26 gauge wire because I've got about 1.25 inches left, which really isn't enough. Like if I were desperate and it were the middle of the night, I would try it, but to make a decent basic wire wrap link, you know, you're going to waste some wire. That's inevitable. So whenever I'm helping people calculate for things like that, I always say calculate at least 2 to 3 inches per wire wrapped link to account for the waste that you need in order to be able to hold it. And that's something that a lot of people, when they first start out wire wrapping, you know, and doing linked things, they're really astonished by how much wire it actually takes. But if you count 2 to 3 inches of wire per link, then you're probably not going to run short, which is nice. All right, there we go. Sorry, I'll tell you about that in a minute. That was actually me. That was a fun story from, you know, the beginning of the day. Okay, so got my one loop. I'm going to put on my bead. And then we're going to go away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate, underneath, like so. And again, hook your wire into the attachment of the clasp, pull that up into the loop, hold across, and wrap. So make sure you're pulling nice and hard on that wire so that you get nice tight wraps, and you do want to position them fairly close together as well. And that, people of the Beading Dreams stream, is our wandering necklace tutorial for this evening. Yay! Once I get that tucked in you. Alright, so that's my clasp, and that's my necklace. So, well, okay, it's all, sorry, tangled up on it there. That's my necklace. That looks a little bit less wonky. So thank you all so much for taking some time and hanging out with us on the Beading Dreams stream this Wednesday evening. Thanks to my raiders, anybody who's still hanging out. Thanks to my regulars, of course. Love you as always. Don't forget that it's a sale night. That means that I am going to hustle my rear end off of this stream. I'm going to go pull a bunch of my new merchandise and get it ready for the sale, which will commence in about half an hour, so probably around 7:45 is when I will be back on. So if you're going to participate in the sale, don't forget to pour yourself a cocktail or beverage of your choice. Grab something with which to hydrate, get comfy, get cozy, and prepare for some retail therapy right in the comfort of your own living room, office, or wherever you watch the Beading Dreams stream. So I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. For anybody out there who doesn't know us, we're an actual brick and mortar retail bead store. We are here on Lovers Lane in Dallas to feed your need to bead 6 days a week. We're here Monday through Saturday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can also find us on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. It's Wednesday through Saturday at 6 p.m. Central, plus live merchandise sales every Wednesday and every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. So I'm going to go get ready for the sale. Everyone have a great half an hour, and we will see y'all back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, for the sale in just a bit.